Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're playing with some newer products and some other products that have been chilling in my drawer and I just haven't had the chance to use yet. So I played with some new eyeshadow. I have a new foundation for you. I have a new concealer, some blush, a setting powder. So if you guys are interested to see how I came up with this look and the products that I used, keep on watching. Okay, the first thing that we're going to dive into is the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. e.l.f. came out with 3 different primers that were like the putty consistency. I have already kind of dipped my finger in here just to feel it and kind of mess around with it a little bit because I was intrigued. But it's a white, putty primer. I'm just going to take some of this on my finger. Now when you swirl your finger in here, it's, I don't even know what to compare it to. It doesn't really feel like the original one, the Poreless Putty Primer. This feels a lot more like creamy as opposed to the Putty Primer was more emollient feeling. This one just feels really creamy. So I'm going to start applying this all over. I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on the way this is making my skin feel, but it's early in the game. Why must you fight me? Do what you're told. Just keep adding bobby pins until it listens. I don't know, it feels a little tacky. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on into the foundation and we'll see if this actually does anything as far as like long wear or if it helps to keep my skin mattified. I mean, says matte putty primer. I don't know that I'd call it matte. So when it comes to like foundation and concealer, I was in Sally's the other day with my daughter because we were buying her purple hair dye. And I really wanted to try Collab because I've heard lots of the beauty YouTubers talk about this brand because it is a beauty YouTuber created brand. As far as I know, they've collaborated together to make this brand. And I wanted to try a couple of their products. So I picked up the Meet Your Matte Foundation. I grabbed the Collab No Flaws Liquid Concealer. And then I also picked up the mascara that Tati talks about. This is the Love Your Curves mascara. So we're going to use those. And then just a few weeks ago, I did pick up the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. So I figure what I'll do is if I don't really like the consistency of this one, I do think this one is pretty hydrating, so I can mix them kind of together. The e.l.f. one's a little dark for my skin, so I didn't want to just use this. I don't know. We're just going to play around and see what we come up with here. But I'm going to start off by concealing some of this madness on my chin. I'm going to spot conceal because we're going to go over top of this with foundation anyway. Some of this just looks horrendous. I mean, I almost want to go over my whole face with this. I don't know what is wrong with my skin here lately. I think it's about to be that time. That time. I'm just going to kind of tap that in with my finger, I guess. That helped a little bit. So the shade of concealer that I'm using is Porcelain 01. Now I'm going to go in with the Porcelain 01 shade of the Meet Your Matte Foundation. I have a feeling this is going to be extremely light for me, but, wouldn't be me if I wasn't picking up foundations that were shades and shades off from my actual skin tone. I'll just mix it with one of the other 75 foundations that I have. No biggie. Let's see what happens here. Is this supposed to be full coverage? Does it say? It just says Velvet Foundation. I don't know how full coverage this is supposed to be. Hopefully extremely full coverage. I have a lot of redness and a lot of acne right now. Okay. Definitely covering a lot up. So far. So far, this really doesn't look matte. It's awful luminous, if I'm being honest. Maybe it'll dry down, I don't know, but right now it looks rather luminous. If it doesn't transfer, and it wears well, I don't care. But most luminous foundations don't last very long on my skin because I'm hella oily. I don't have any like weird smell coming from this. No, it literally smells like nothing. There's no scent. I like that. I like that it doesn't smell like paint, or that it doesn't smell like, you know, rotting fish or anything like that. I mean, this isn't full coverage by any means. Even with the concealer, you can still see like that mess that I had down here peeking through a little bit, but it's not awful. Like, this coverage is not terrible. I need to get an up close view and see what this looks like here, because so far I'm not hating this. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Like, if you look on the side of my nose here, it's just lying on top of it. It's not really bunching up in the corner. Now, this line right here is always really bad because that's a really deep smile line. I'm a happy person, what can I say? So, I usually do have to tap that out a few times when I'm doing my makeup. It's just the way it is. It's with every foundation. But this one's not bad. It's also not filling in the pores. Like, you can see where I've got really deep pores right there, and it's not covering those all the way. Sometimes powder will help with that. Most of the time, you can just still see the pores, and I've kind of learned to accept that. You know, we're human. We all have pores and skin imperfections. That's just the way it is. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put some concealer underneath these eyes because they're purple, and, you know, nobody wants purple under eyes. It's not sexy. Underneath my eyes is usually extremely dry, so I'm going to take that e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer and just see what it does for the under eyes. I don't think I've used this by itself yet. I've tried it a couple times, but I've usually mixed it in with more of like a mattifying concealer. Try a little bit of this. Yeah, it's just looking a little bit crepey underneath the eyes already. I don't know, anytime I use anything other than my Bye Bye Under Eye, I'm not happy with the under eyes, so let me scoot forward so you guys can see it before I add some of that, because I think I am going to go ahead and add it. I can't do it. So you can see what the under eyes look like. A little creepy. Okay, again, taking the Bye Bye Under Eye, and I'm just going to tap a little bit of that. This just helps add some moisture. When you get older, you just don't have the under eyes that you had when you were like 16, you know what I mean? There's some dryness going on, some baggage, lots of baggage. So I do have a new powder that I want to use in this video. It's the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. This is one that I've tried before. I think I've tried it twice before going to work. And it gives like a soft focus kind of sheen to your skin, but it doesn't do much for setting. So I do have to use like an actual setting powder first, or that's really not going to do a whole lot for me. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty powder in butter first, and then I'm going to top it off with this e.l.f. Halo Glow powder. Using my favorite powder brush from e.l.f. It is their 103. Love this brush. Just to kind of set some powder down here. Would you guys be interested in me doing an updated makeup collection video once I get my new vanity and my drawers and stuff in, and I'm able to kind of organize things a little bit better? Because I think I'm going to. I think I want to do a couple declutters as well, because otherwise I don't know that I'll be able to get all my stuff into these drawers that I've ordered. And I want to be a little more selective about what I'm keeping and, you know, what I'm buying and all that stuff. Oh boy. Oh, it's so much powder. Okay, now that we have it fully set with that Fenty powder, I'm going to go in with this e.l.f. Halo Glow, and we're going to see what the difference is here. I really do think it leaves a sheen. When you open it up, it's got this little separator in here where you've got a little bit of, you can, you know, dump powder out of this side. You can shut the little cap in here. I really like this kind where you can shut that and not have it spilling everywhere. Prime example, my Fenty Beauty powder does not have that. And from bouncing around, you can see all the powder just chilling on top here. It is quite the mess. Okay, I'm going to take like a really fluffy brush here just to kind of buff some of this powder all over my face. And and get a little bit of a sheen going on. Maybe. We'll see. We'll do half the face and look and see if it did anything for me. Barely. I mean, I can see a little bit of a sheen on this side. I think it does give a little bit of a smoothing effect. I just feel like if you're using this to actually set your face, you might want to do something first before you actually set it. Okay, so the next few things that I'm going to use are things that aren't new to me. It's just stuff that I grabbed out of my collection. So I'm just going to speed through this process of putting on a little bit of contour and a little bit of bronzer, and then we'll stop at the blush. Okay, so the next portion of this I wanted to slow down just a tad because it's going to be a first impression for me. This is the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur Blush in Mauve Sunrise. It's a little tiny sample that I got. I don't even remember where, but that's what it looks like. Really beautiful. And we're going to slap that on the cheeks real quick and see what I think. It does feel, I don't know, it feels like a cream almost. Maybe it is. But I'm going to use my regular blush brush. I hope it works. That's pretty. It kind of reminds me of the Super Shock Cheek from ColourPop. And I think these blushes from Bare Minerals are, well, I know they're over $20. So I would say, I mean, this has a sheen to it though. I don't think the Super Shock Cheeks have a sheen. Maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, this is really pretty, but I don't know. Once you start finding like cheaper alternatives for things that you really like, it makes you wonder, or it makes you think about how much you're paying for things in the future. Because you're like, I know I can use, you know, such and such product and get the same exact effect for a fraction of the cost. This is really pretty. Like, really pretty. Like, it's gorgeous. So after I go ahead and put the brows on, which I'm going to be using the Brow Gal brow pencil, which is my all-time favorite. And I'm probably going to use some of the Gimme Brow to like feather through my brows and give them a little more volume. And then I'm going to worry about eyeshadow. So for this particular video, I wanted to focus on like one single shadow and make that be like the centerpiece, the statement piece of this, you know, of the eye look. And when I was thinking about, you know, extraordinary shadows in my collection, the ones that came to mind were my JD Glow cosmetic shadows. I have shared these in a prior video, but I've only tried them on my channel once, I believe. They are just so beautiful. They're so stunning. Show you what they look like here. They have so much shine. They are glittery. Some of them are duochromes. They're just, I can't even convey to you on camera how beautiful these are. So I allowed my daughter to pick out my eye color for me. I asked her which one out of these shades she wanted me to wear on my eyes, and she chose this shade right here. This is one that I've heard Amy Loves Makeup talk about, and I believe Angelica, can't pronounce her last name, so I'm not going to try, but I believe I've heard both of them talk about this particular shadow. It's called Prismatic. I'm going to go ahead and swatch it right here for you too. I just wanted to show the shift here and how beautiful this color is, because it flips to like an icy blue and a lime green, and oh, it's just so beautiful. So anyway, this is the color that my daughter picked for me to wear on my eyes. So I'm going to make that like the main focal point of my eye look. Normally I don't do looks like that, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But I figure, you know, if I bought these products and I have them sitting around, I really should learn how to use them and start getting some use out of them. Okay, so now I've finally got the eyebrows on. We're going to go ahead and jump into my Jaclyn Cosmetics highlighting palette. This is her Flash palette. I'm going to dip into the shade Sparks down here in the corner. It's this really beautiful yellowy type of highlighter. I think it'll go good with that JD Glow Cosmetic eyeshadow. Ooh, doggy. It's awful bright. It is pouring down so hard outside right now. Okay, I really don't know what to do about the eyeshadow other than using that color all over my lid. I didn't even put a base down. I need to put a primer down, and then we'll throw that shadow on, and then I think we're going to be just about done. So to prime my eyes, I'm using the Sigma eyeshadow base primer. This one is in the shade Ignite. It's kind of like a yellowy toned primer, which I'm not, you know, thrilled about, but I think it's going to really help that JD Glow eyeshadow stick. So that's why I'm using this. This is also really good for longevity if you're looking for something to help your eyeshadow wear all day. It's a little patchy. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to put this on the lid, and we'll see what it looks like. I'm really sure what I'm doing here. A little nervous. Oh my. Oh, that's pretty. The way the light catches it. Like I said, normally I don't do just like the one shadow color. I normally have a lot of other stuff going on. But it's so pretty though. So I think what I'm going to do is put like a colorful liner on my lower waterline. Okay, so the only other things I did, I went ahead and put the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Teaspoon on my lower waterline. And then on my inner corner, I used the JD Glow Cosmetics Pressed Highlighter in Saxon Fifth. It looks like that. It's a gorgeous highlighter. It's just super chunky. So it's not really something I can wear on my cheeks because it'll make them look really textured. So I really love using this as an inner corner highlight because you can see, you know, what that does for the inner corner. All right, now is the moment of truth. I went ahead and used a eyelash curler to curl my lashes. I want to see if this Collab Mascara is any good. I like the packaging. It's very sleek, but it's got this smooth texture to it. And oh, that's an odd looking wand. I do like this wand with like the short pokey bristles on it, so I'm not opposed to this kind of, you know, wand applicator. But a lot of product just came off when I did that. I'm a little worried. I mean, it looks good in the sense that like, oh, yeah, that looks really good. Can you see the difference? It doesn't do a whole lot for like length, well, volume. It does a lot for the length though, which I actually like. It really helps to separate your lashes, which I like. And I think it looks really nice. Huh. Okay, Tati. So I picked out quite a bold lip to go with this. I was going to pick out a nude color, like a neutral. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, this Buxom, what is this? Vava Plump Shiny Liquid Lipstick in the shade Wine Me was screaming my name. It's a little sample that I have. And I am trying to use up some of my samples. On camera, it's showing up red. Not really sure why, because it's not a red. It's actually a really deep berry shade. That's what's on the lips. And that wraps up this video. So just to give like a quick rundown on the products that I tried and what I think about them so far, I have been wearing this stuff now since for the most part since about 2 and it's almost 7, so about 5 hours. That's how long that this base has been on my face. Or since about 3 maybe. The e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer, I'm not really sure if that did anything for my base. My skin was looking pretty luminous even when I put the foundation on, which was also supposed to be matte. But this didn't help as far as like filling in texture. It didn't help with filling in lines because you can see the lines on my forehead are pretty pronounced right now. So I really don't know, like, I don't have a full opinion on it yet because it is, you know, a really new product to me. I'd have to wear it out to work or something and wear it with other foundations to see what I really think about it. But right now, it's okay. It's not an award-winning product or anything like that, but it's not awful. Now, as far as the Collab Meet Your Matte foundation, it's not my absolute favorite foundation, but it's definitely not terrible. If you're somebody that's looking for, you know, a pretty solid matte foundation, but not so drying to where it makes you look, you know, 10 to 15 years older, because I don't think it was that bad, but it does settle in your lines, so you do have to be careful. If you're younger and you don't have the fine lines, you don't have the texture, this might not be too bad. You might really like this if you are, you know, of an oily skin type like I am. So if I had to rate this like A through F, I think I would give it like a B minus. So I don't hate that I bought it, but I'm probably not going to be reaching for this over some of my other Holy Grail products. Now the Collab Concealer, this one's okay. It doesn't have the coverage that I normally like, and it is a little bit drying, but if I mix it with something that's not as dry, something that's a little more moisturizing, it's not too bad. So I do want to play around with this just a little bit more to see what I think about it. I don't know, I would probably give this again like a B minus. If you're not looking for something with heavy full coverage, maybe like a medium coverage, and you're not too worried about, you know, it drying out your under eyes, you might love this. Now, when it comes to the Collab Mascara, this one was really good. I think it did a good job keeping my lashes curled and giving them some extra length. So glad I picked this up. I will continue to use this, and I agree with Tati. It's a good mascara. I think you already know how I feel about the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. Not really a setting powder, more of like a soft focus finishing powder, I would call it. And I do feel like it gave a little bit of a sheen to the skin, so not too shabby. But if you're an oily person like I am, you might want to find something else to set your face before you go in with this. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. I really appreciate when you guys take the time to do that, and it helps my channel out tremendously, so thank you to those of you that do. Let me know if you have any of these products that I mentioned today and what your thoughts are on them. If you're not already subscribed and you like my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, that way you're notified of all my future uploads, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.